So, bad times at the El Royale, but again, what do we think?
What did we see today?
We saw Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Jake's not wearing pants. It's like midnight. Let's do this.
The ninth film by Quentin Tarantino.
Only one more, right?
Only one more.
Allegedly. Only
Allegedly. I mean,
Yeah, he's probably gonna make 20 more.
actors and directors say, "Oh, I'm only doing this one more time, and they're done." But then,
Liam Neeson, I'm no longer in action movies. I'm
Exactly.
gonna be in more action movies.
Non-stop. Cold
yeah,
Pursuit.
like I feel like creators like they have that like urge to like just keep making more at some
No, it's
point.
understandable though.
Or maybe he'll just sit on his money and count it forever.
You know, it doesn't matter because right now we're talking about number 9, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Yep.
Starring Brad Pitt, Leonardo DiCaprio, Margot Robbie.
Now, before we get into this, I want to know how many Tarantinos have you guys seen?
This is the third one.
Okay, so you're not
Counting Kill
terribly-
Bill is 2 movies.
okay.
Kill Bill is one movie.
Okay, well, Counting Kill Bill is 1 movie rather. Sorry, because I've seen Pulp Fiction, both Kill Bills, and this.
Yeah. So
Okay.
you.
You got his hits more or less.
I haven't
Uh,
seen Reservoir Dogs, which I've heard's great. I haven't seen Hateful Eight, which I've heard's great.
I've seen Reservoir Dogs, Pulp Fiction, Inglourious Bastards, Django to Unchained, and The Hateful Eight, and this one. So this is my 6th.
I've seen roughly half of his, maybe 10-ish sort of. But
Nine.
I've
Said
seen
in the trailers. Remember, he was jerking himself off. It's my
Yeah.
9th film.
Yeah, he didn't make the trailers.
I think he
though.
has the right to jerk himself off a little
does,
bit.
though.
Not
No,
gonna lie.
he does not. I hate him.
I've seen Pulp Fiction, Kill Bills. I've seen Glorious Bastards is actually my favorite Tarantino.
You've also seen Django, I think.
Also Django and this.
It's 5.
I think
You're
that's
over
it.
the hump.
I
Haven't
think
you seen
that's it.
Hateful Eight, Jake?
No, I haven't.
Oh.
I saw the trailer.
So you haven't seen Reservoir Dogs, The Hateful Eight.
Oh no, I've seen Reservoir Dogs. I'm sorry.
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. So how do we feel about the movie? We feel good?
You know, I really like Sam Jackson and John Travolta in Pulp Fiction. Sorry.
So how do we feel about Once
Great.
Upon a Time?
I feel great.
Yeah? Okay,
Yeah.
so, well, the way we structure the show is we talk about the minority opinion first. So do we have any negatives about the film?
Yeah, I guess I'll go first.
Sure.
The only thing I really didn't like, the other stuff's really nitpicky. Towards the second half of the film, the little over narration thing.
Oh, with Kurt Russell?
Yeah, I
He
didn't.
went fucking crazy. with some
It was
over-narration.
very Men Who Stare at Goats. I don't like that narration.
It got really technical where he was like at 10:02.
At 10:02, they're doing the exact thing on screen that you're fucking watching. Thanks, Kurt. Thanks.
It would have been fine if there had been any hint at narration at any other point. The only other thing we got was like a quick aside on Rick Dalton losing his license,
Which
which
was
fucking
funny.
hilarious.
I like that part because that adds a little bit of flair. It's a little bit of in the past. It's not it's not necessarily relevant, but it's not irrelevant. It's a nice little bring in.
Well, the point where the 6 months later is where all the narration starts to kick in. But
Mm-hmm.
prior to that point, the only part of narration was that offhanded joke, pardon me, about Rick Dalton's license. And I thought, wow, it's a kind of funny, creative way. But is there a narrator now? Because he addressed both Rick and Cliff by name, so it's neither of those people, presumably.
Yes,
And we found out it was Kurt Russell. So there is a narrator of this movie implied? Like,
Yeah.
There is
then,
apparently a narrator.
And then it goes 6 months later, and it's more narration.
Narration.
I'm assuming by the same guy.
Yep.
It's-
Kurt.
I
So-
think it's Kurt Russell.
I'm
It
pretty
sounded
sure
like
it was Kurt
It would be
Russell.
inconsistent if it really weren't, but like...
But
It,
yeah,
it was weird to me that like throughout the entire first half, it was only used once for one joke, and then it was used pretty heavily.
For half of the second half.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know why it was very
Like about a
selective.
fourth
I
of the
kind
movie.
Honestly, I kind of felt like it was like two different movies once we hit the 6
I
months later.
agree.
Mm-hmm.
They're both good movies. Don't get me wrong, but it
Yes.
felt like the first one was this really good, bombastic, sprawling story about these two guys at the end of their rope.
Yep.
And then the second one was like, I don't
About
even.
the Charles Manson stuff.
Yeah.
I was very I don't know.
I felt like there should have been something connecting those two things.
The
and it
main
would have been better.
negative for me would be I don't even know if it is a negative, but I expected I didn't hate the ending, but I expected more movie.
It just ends.
Yeah, I thought
I thought there was like 5 more minutes, yeah.
like the characters, they're not at the ends of their arcs yet. There's more to do with Rick Dalton and Cliff. Like you can do so much more with these characters. I feel like this is like the first season of a television show
Yeah.
that left a cliffhanger for season 2. Like I feel like there's more here to talk about, and
Yeah.
I feel like Tarantino, like this feels like the first half of Kill Bill. You know what I mean? Like there's you
but
have
that
Yeah,
he
no, he's
made
kinda right.
knowing it would be two parts.
exactly. There's no end game coming up next year. Like this is a movie.
Yeah.
So it's
It-
weird to me.
No, I agree. I felt like once the ending hit, I was like, wait,
I checked the
that
clock
it?
and I was like, oh, it's about
That
2
was
hours
I was
40.
like that was the climax. That didn't feel very.
Well, no, the
Climactic.
climax felt pretty climactic.
Yeah, it
the
did.
whole, but the end was very jarring.
It just ends.
Yeah. I don't know if that's a negative or not. Actually, I
No,
don't mind the fact that it
I
just
think-
ends.
I think I would put it in the negatives. Of I feel like it just ends. You know, like all the other Quentin Tarantino movies I've seen have very satisfying, conclusive endings. You know, Jules and Vince escape with the briefcase. Pink gets away with it while Orange and White stay behind to die. Everyone dies in the inn as they hang Daisy Domergue. Django escapes with his wife.
I
The
believe
final
Muggs-
two Jews carve a swastika into Christoph Waltz. Not Christoph Waltz. Was it Christoph Waltz?
Yeah, but
Christoph
Mud's
Waltz's
spoiling all these
forehead.
movies for me.
I'm like, but what about Rick Dalton's acting career? Because this movie's made me care,
Care about
Rick
Rick Dalton.
Dalton's acting
That's
What
what
about
I'm saying.
Cliff
like,
Booth?
like
What
there's
about Cliff? Is he gonna be okay? What's he gonna do for
yeah,
work?
like Rick has like hopes and aspirations, and he's towards the end of his character arc. But I feel like there's like
still more
a
there.
scene
What
or
about
two.
Sharon? What was the point of Sharon Tate at
Yeah,
all?
why was
didn't
she in the
do
movie?
anything.
Is it because the original ending was changed? Well, in that case, cut out the Sharon Tate
Yeah,
character.
so
You know what I mean?
she felt very superfluous to the final film.
And
Even
you know what's funny too? All these things that we're saying that are now superfluous, like the career, like Sharon Tate, would not be were there one more scene in the movie, maybe
Yep.
2 more scenes that
I
just
agree.
kind of wrapped things up.
yeah,
And I'm not asking for like Return of the King where there's 10 endings to 20 different storylines, but like give me
Yeah.
something. I feel like
Like,
there's no closure.
I guess they had to put Tate in to cap off the Manson family stuff, but
Yeah.
yeah, that's what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
it did.
I feel like
technically.
you absolutely could have done the Manson family stuff without Sharon Tate at all, considering the fact that Cliff Booth, Brad Pitt's character, has several run-ins with the Manson family. I think it's perfectly reasonable to be like, oh, he's pissed us off, go kill him.
Yeah.
You know?
Or what actually happened, where they didn't even go to the fucking house they were supposed to go to.
Yeah, they went to Rick Dalton's house. They completely changed their target.
If you show Sharon Tate in one scene in this movie, the opening scene where we meet her and Roman Polanski, and they drive up, and you know they live there, and then they're not in the rest of the movie, and then Tex goes, "We need to go up to that house where they used to live." We know where that house is. We know who lives there from the beginning of the movie. Boom.
Yeah.
That
But like,
wraps that up.
Sharon has all these scenes, but she's always alone.
Yeah.
Like the movie's just her meandering through town.
Sometimes she's with Speed Racer.
Sometimes she's with Speed Racer, but like most of the time she's just by herself. She goes to the movies by herself. She watches her own film by herself. Sharon Tate, she just felt very superfluous to the end of the film because all she does is really invite Rick Dalton up for drinks, and it's not even like okay. So I read an ending online where Rick Dalton like saves Sharon Tate's life. That would have been a great close to his character arc, you know.
It would have been a close to
It
all
would have been
of
a
them,
close
really.
to something.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want to make it sound like everything falls apart in the final act. It doesn't.
really
The movie's
doesn't.
Still
Yeah,
very
it's a good movie.
satisfying. But you're just left going, wait, it's over.
Yeah, I had the same thing. I was like, oh, there's
Oh,
not
it's
one
over.
more scene, 2 more scenes.
Couple more minutes? No, it's
Yeah.
over. Okay.
No, that's fine. I'm not mad about that, but bam.
Bothered
that's,
me.
That's my only real negative with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
All right.
Everything
so-
else is all positive.
Yeah, exactly. Positives. I'm gonna fire in with a hot take. Brad Pitt steals the show.
Absolutely.
Every scene he's in is fucking magic.
Absolutely.
He's great.
Is beautiful.
Holy shit.
Oh my
Cliff.
god.
He's probably my favorite character
Yep.
in a movie this year.
Yeah, I
that
think
includes
so.
all the fucking Avengers and shit.
He's-
He's the best.
He could be an Avenger.
I don't know if
could be an
he's my
Avenger.
favorite character this year. I saw a John Wick movie.
Oh, it's
John
true.
Wick's great.
I want to see
That's
John
great.
Wick fight Brad Pitt.
Oh my god, who'd win?
Yeah, John Pitt.
Well, okay, I want to. Let me rephrase that. I want to see John Wick fight Cliff Booth.
Yes, not Brad Pitt the actor.
Dude, when he threw Bruce Lee into the side of the car.
Mhm.
Oh,
Can we just talk about how fucking talented Leonardo DiCaprio is?
He's great. Oh, my god.
both of them are
This is
fantastic.
obviously a very like meta role for him to do,
Yeah.
since there are some similarities, like the Birdman thing. But like watching him pull it off so fucking well, like each individual emotion that character felt at each point was dead
Real,
fucking
yep.
on.
It was beautiful.
So
Fantastic.
I'm watching this, I'm like, wow, Tarantino of course is creative as always, but DiCaprio knows how to fucking do this shit.
Yeah.
He was.
Oh,
I mean, I
100%.
want both Brad Pitt and Leonardo DiCaprio to be nominated for Oscars for this movie.
No, I think Brad Pitt could definitely.
I even liked the supporting cast. I liked Discount Adam Driver. He was pretty cool. Speed Racer, for what he was given, was pretty neat. I like seeing.
I
Speed
wanted
Racer
more
movies.
Al Pacino in this movie.
Yeah, Al Pacino could have.
I love Al Pacino.
Yeah, I felt like Al Pacino again. Like I feel like he needed another scene, just like the rest of the characters. Like he was kind of in just 2 sequences, and it was like a
trying
Yeah.
to get
There
him
was
to
like
go
a
to
build
Italy.
up, like there
Yep.
was something that was supposed to happen.
Like
that
Kurt Russell. And
Mhm.
I'm a little confused. That whole sequence where Cliff fought Bruce Lee, was that a hypothetical or did that actually happen?
That
I
happened?
believe it was a
should
hypothetical.
happen, right? Yeah.
I'm not sure.
I thought it was
why wouldn't
hypothetical.
have happened?
Because like he thinks about it while he's standing up on the rooftop, and then the
He goes-
outfit he's in when he gets into costume is not the same outfit Rick is wearing for the day because he's wearing like a suit.
Mhm.
So I have no idea.
Well,
if that's,
I
like,
thought that was a flashback as to why he was fired off. Of
And also, Bruce Lee wasn't in that thing that Rick was working with.
yeah, that was
So
definitely a flashback.
I guess it was just a flashback. Okay, that confused me. I thought it was a
Mhm.
hypothetical.
Yeah, because like if that were like a fantasy, I think
It would have been framed better.
yeah, it would have been
Tarantino
framed
would have
as if
known.
Cliff Booth was the most cool man alive. You
You're
know what
so
I mean?
right.
He threw Bruce Lee through a car door.
Yeah, but Bruce Lee also kicked him down. Like I
that
feel
was
like
a show.
Cliff would have definitively won
stunt
that
show.
fight. Yeah,
That was a show.
yeah.
He was like, "All right, try that again," and then he yeeted him into a car.
Yeah. Oh my god, really good though.
Oh my god, that was so funny.
Yeah, the acting was A1.
Brad Pitt was on top of his game.
There might be some of the funniest fucking scenes in this movie.
Oh my god,
Oh my god.
this movie was fucking
Dude, his
hysterical.
entire conversation with Pussycat on the ride over was amazing.
Oh, do you remember when he fucked up the lines and he's like, "Oh, like a fucking baboon"? Whoa, whoa,
Oh yeah,
whoa.
Leonardo DiCaprio having a fucking. The best part is I
freaked
read about
So
that on.
good.
I read about that online. Brad Pitt was talking about working with Leo, and he's like, Leo throws the best temper tantrum I have ever seen in a movie. In this
I agree.
So
100%,
fucking
dude.
good.
That whole scene, you fucking alcoholic. Could have had 4 whiskey sours. Could have had 5. No, you had fucking 8.
He's talking about killing himself.
You fucking drink one more drink, I'm gonna blow your
Oh
goddamn
my
brains
God.
out. Do
I
you
love
hear me?
Sip.
I love how like DiCaprio's character was like diet bipolar. You know what I mean?
He was
like at sequences
great.
he'd get
I
really
noticed
emotional.
another thing where he stutters and stumbles a lot. And
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, that's a pretty cool character tick where he's
Mhm.
like actually not that confident in himself that he's like.
And honestly, like having worked on a few productions, when actors fuck up their lines and have to redo a complicated camera movement take, watching the camera just linger there and then quickly go back to the original spot and then you do the take again, it's like, oh, I fucking relate to that shit.
Yeah.
Oh my god, like
It was
seeing
just
that kind of
so
happen.
funny.
And Tarantino, he conveyed that not by showing the crew or showing each part as if like a shot reverse
Just
shot.
putting you in the camera.
Just puts you
Yep.
in the camera, makes you feel the movie as if you're watching the movie like in front of you, and
Yep.
then watching the fuck up as it's happening. That's so fucking cool. That's a really
it was
This
interesting
is
way
gonna
to do
be
it.
really weird and stupid, but I could watch Brad Pitt drive around 1960s LA listening to great music all day.
Oh, looking at
Dude,
baddies
Are
the
you
whole
kidding
time?
me? I
Yeah.
want a Brad Pitt versus Bruce Lee movie.
yeah. I feel like that's the movie I was promised.
Oh my god, I want more of that.
I
please.
want more Brad Pitt
I
fighting
mean,
Bruce Lee.
I'm satisfied from the action with the fucking
Oh,
third act
100%,
with Cliff
yeah.
kicking everyone's ass and
That
bashing
was
people's heads
fucking
in.
brutal.
Like,
It's like,
Jesus
why do you keep
Christ.
hitting her head against things?
Stop! She's dead.
Stop! She's already dead.
then
It felt
Leo
very
gets a-
Midsommar with the hammer clunk,
Exactly.
clunk. You know,
And then
I hit the
Leo
mic.
gets the fucking flamethrower and burns the girl.
Oh my
That might have been
God.
one of the most satisfying
Cherry on
things in the
top.
whole movie.
Cherry on top of that scene.
Dude.
with
Chekhov's
that flamethrower.
flamethrower. You knew he was going to use it again.
I didn't because I thought
No.
that was a dumb throwaway gag in the movie.
No, he
because
had it
it
in
was
his-
in the shed when
We s-
Brad Pitt was getting his tools. You saw it.
The camera lingered on it.
Yep.
When he was
Camera
getting stuff.
lingered on it when he was getting the tools.
I didn't pick that up. I wasn't set up
I
with
picked it
Chekhov.
up and I was like, whispered over to Bud, Chekhov's flamethrower.
I can't say enough good things about Leo and Brad in this movie. They fucking killed it.
Oh, yeah.
That whole scene where Leo's acting and he's like holding the little girl for ransom.
Mm-hmm.
Probably some of the best. That little girl's right. That's some of the best acting I've ever seen in my life.
That little girl was one of the best child actresses I've ever seen in a movie.
She did a really
Yes.
good
She was
job.
great.
Yeah, she may have been the best.
Holy
I
fucking shit.
I'm normally not a big fan of child acting. Normally it detracts from the movie immediately, and I was pleasantly surprised.
I think the one thing I would do with this movie is I'd kind of clean up the first part of it. There are some
I
parts
really
that I
liked
feel
the
like
first part of this
I
movie.
feel like some of it meanders. Like there's a scene where like Brad Pitt's driving around and they're playing "Little Bit of Lovin'," which was the trailer song.
Yeah,
and then
that's
it
a great-
cuts to a different song, and I'm like, okay, so that whole other part where he was listening to "Little Bit of Loving" doesn't really need to be there if he's listening to a different song now. I don't know. I just feel like there are a couple like quick things you can just chop up and just really save like I don't know 10 minutes worth of runtime to just be like we don't need all these extra shots of just Brad Pitt driving around.
No,
in a car.
we need those.
As much as I enjoyed it, from an editor's critical standpoint, I don't feel they need to be in the movie.
Yeah, I don't look at things from a critical standpoint. Brad Pitt was driving around listening to music. Hee-hoo.
Yeah.
I thought the second half was where it started to get not... I think it's nitpicky because I don't like narration. Some people like
It's
narration.
more than just narration. It loses. I hate to say it, but I feel like it loses something.
That charm.
there was
There was a lot of charm at the beginning
the
of the
first
movie.
half of the movie is such a slow burn. It's one day in these characters' lives.
Yeah.
Where Sharon Tate goes see a movie, Rick Dalton's working on this project where he really feels like it's the last shot to be good.
Brad Pitt's trying to get his dick sucked, and
Cliff
he's like,
Booth's trying to
no.
bang a 16-year-old.
Probably.
And it's just this beautiful slow burn.
Yeah.
And then the second half of the movie is like
Really quick, fast
20
paced.
minutes of narration,
Boom, boom, boom,
and
boom.
then
yeah.
the hippies show up and they fight the hippies and they win and then it's over and you're like,
Honestly, I just kind of wish it culminated a little bit more in that ending.
exactly.
I as much as I don't really like slow movies because I get bored most of the time if it's not super interesting. This movie was super interesting.
This movie kept my interest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Every
just-
part of the slow stuff kept my interest.
It just
and if
feels
it
like
built up more, I would have loved it.
here's the best way I can put it. It feels like Tarantino wrote the first half of this script, put it away, left it for a couple months, went back to it, and he was like,
Shit, this is
"Fuck,
coming out
well,
soon.
What? No, what the fuck was my idea here?
I'll just wrap
Shit.
it up in a nice
All
bow.
right, I'll just
Right at
end
ending.
it."
We're good.
You know.
I did like the actual ending with him just talking to the Polanski, the guy. That was just super fucking cool.
Yeah.
Like, it felt like such a natural, nice conversation.
Yeah,
Yes,
that
no,
felt
I
good.
agree.
It's just when you go, oh wait, that's it,
If
Yeah.
if they showed up at the party and talked and Polanski offered him a job opportunity,
and then he went.
it would have wrapped up his character.
And then no. On top of that,
He went to the
Polanski
hospital.
wasn't there.
Oh,
He
Emil
goes
Hirsch,
to the
sorry.
hospital and he lets Cliff know, hey, da 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 da, and
I want you
gonna
to be
be
a
a lot
stunt
of
double.
yeah, there's gonna
Yep.
be a lot of stunts. That would have
If
wrapped
that
everything.
ends the movie, there's gonna be a lot of stunts, and it's just Brad Pitt going and
Hell
smiling.
Yeah,
Hard cut
Cut.
to the end of the movie.
Polanski, who wasn't there sadly, but like the point
Yeah.
is, Dalton gets a job on Polanski's next project. He goes to the hospital. He says to Cliff, hey, when you get out, we got work to do.
And Brad Pitt just smiles, nods, and goes, and that ends. Hard cut ends the movie.
That would have, and that could have just
Wraps up every single character.
Could have
But
just
then,
been
like,
5
yeah,
minutes.
Like, if you look at, like, the narration and, like, how it kicks in the second half, like
Yep.
we're talking about, there's a montage of things that happen to Rick. Like, one of them, for example, is, he had an issue with the way that Italian spaghetti westerns were done because everyone speaks in their own languages and it's dubbed in whatever country it's released in. And I would have really liked to see, like, a 2 or 3 minute Tarantino-directed scene where he's just getting fed up with people not speaking the right dialogue.
And you know what the thing is? They did that with the end part. The last movie they talked about, where it's just like a James Bond-esque movie. I'm like, I want to see that, and then they showed it.
Yeah.
Because they didn't show any of the other ones.
Because
Yeah.
that's like a funny punchline. I'd rather see it done than just hear someone
honestly,
mention it.
if they had one scene of what you were just talking about, where they say "Arrivederci," which is it's also Brad Pitt, which I,
Bonjour. We
Buongiorno.
get Leonardo DiCaprio saying "Buongiorno" and
Yeah.
"Arrivederci."
no, but it's like the girl next to him speaks Italian. The guy across replies, and he goes, "What the? How am I supposed to follow along with this?
Right?
I don't understand what either of them are saying."
Like,
Would've been
that
great.
scene writes itself. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah,
Because his character's so eclectic and angry half the time.
I
It
think
makes sense.
I think we are misstating it a little bit. It's not the first half's great and the second half's bad. It's the first 2/3 are phenomenal, and then the last third is great, but there's
Not what
a
you expect.
dip in quality.
Yep, I agree. If the ending of this movie was concrete and wrapped up everything, it'd probably be 10.
I think it just needs 5 more minutes. And I know
Yep.
that's asking a lot for a movie that's 2 hours and 40 minutes long, but at the same time,
Yeah, but
I
I like
also
slow-
feel like
I liked it.
if you shave a little off at the beginning, you have that time made up for at the end.
I have
Then
an
you're
idea.
messing
Just
around
get,
Brad Pitt driving in the car.
I have an idea. Just get rid of the Sharon Tate character. You saved 15 minutes of screen time. Put
Yeah,
5 minutes at the end.
Or
especially
you could
if
even
the-
make her scene shorter. You don't need to necessarily
we-
get rid of it. Just
Exactly.
shorten it.
If we bring up the point I made about like, oh, what if he saved Sharon's life, or because of that he gets a job with Sharon Tate, that would make her character feel more justified.
Mm-hmm.
You can get rid of the 5 minutes of staring at her ass and feet, Quentin.
Oh my god, yeah, that was creepy.
That's weird.
Yeah.
All right.
Every
well,
single scene.
So out of tens,
Let's do it.
I'm gonna shoot straight, either 9 or 10.
I agree with Buddy for 9 or 10. It was great.
I definitely don't think it's a 10. I'll say a 9 though. It was fantastic.
I think I'm leaning closer to 9.
Yep.
I'm gonna go with 9.5 just for the ending.
Yeah, I don't know
Yeah.
if I could give this movie a 10 knowing that there's that many. I know they're nitpicky, but they are narrative
I
issues.
think they are some genuine weak points in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
But that being said, it doesn't detract from the entertainment I have.
Oh, yeah,
and
movie's
the
fantastic.
movie's really good.
Yep.
So I just have to go with 9.5.
This is definitely one of the most impressive of the year.
Yeah.
100%. Great job, Quentin Tarantino. You fucking killed it. Seriously.
Yeah.
It was fantastic.
Killed it like Sharon Tate.
I thoroughly enjoyed myself the whole time, even when I was a little bit confused at the end. I was like, "Fuck, that's a good movie."
I think that definitely wraps it up a little bit. So,
All right, so we'll catch you next time for a thing about a thing.